Hi, my question's
Hello.
about Stratton.
Okay.
They just released a couple of new photos, and I was just wondering if you can share with us what your experience was filming that, and if you know any information when it's going to be released here in the US. I know they were talking about screening at the Cannes Film Festival this week.
Okay.
I've done a little side.
I learned everything from you guys, by the way. I haven't picked this up yet.
I
know
just
nothing.
found this out yesterday too, so I'm like, okay, this would be a good question to ask.
Yeah.
But it was like a small side theater they were gonna screen it at, I guess, since you guys didn't know about it.
Okay, yeah.
But can you tell us more about that experience?
The experience was incredible. Great people. Simon West definitely knows what he likes to do. He likes to blow things up, and he makes it look really cool. And he does great action films. So it was really fun to kind of have that experience of, Teen Wolf obviously did a lot of stunt work and things like that, and that was really fun. But it's also very genre, so it's like you're fighting as a wolf, and like this was actually fighting as a Navy SEAL and going through the training for that. We had to train in Rome, which was, I'll never complain about that. It was a really fun time, and working with Dominic Cooper that closely for kind of the way that we worked in the movie together. Going through that training together was just a really, really fun experience. He's a great guy, great actor. So the experience shooting it was incredible. I haven't seen the film yet. I did hear about another screening that I don't think was that one, that I think Dominic was invited to, so I'm still waiting to hear from him. But yeah, I'm excited to see it, and I don't know exactly when it's going to be released here. I wish I did. But again, you will probably know before I do. I'm sure I'll get another question about, so the release coming up. I'm like, oh, cool, it's coming out. But yeah, as soon as I find something out, I will do one of my rare and not so often tweets and let you guys know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
My question actually is on the heels of that one about your other projects. Can you talk a little bit about Undrafted, which I know obviously hasn't come out yet, but you filmed it a while ago?
Yes.
And also your role in the 50 Shades franchise?
Yes. So I am in 50 Shades. My character's name is Boyce Fox. That's all I can tell you about it. So there you go. Undrafted. We filmed quite a while ago. I think Undrafted was about, oh my God, maybe 2.5, coming up on 3 years ago now. So it's been a little while, but I'm glad that Joe finally got it, put together. It's been together, I think, for a little while now, but we have someone who's excited about the project and distributing it. So that, I believe, is coming out July 15th, if I have that correct. Haha, I know something. So I believe it comes out July 15th. It's a great film about these guys who just love the game of baseball. Ironically, another baseball film that's coming out at the same time. So it's about these guys who just love this thing. And again, it's kind of try to relate it in the same way that Everybody Wants Some wasn't necessarily a baseball movie. That just happened to be the thing that tied these guys together. It could have been a football team. It could have been theater arts program. A bunch of them. It just the discussions might have been a little bit different, but the idea and the concepts are the same. It's something these guys love so much and put so much of your time into that maybe doesn't always necessarily go your way, and just kind of how you deal with that and move on to something. And so it was a lot of fun. Another great ensemble, a bunch of really good guys, great actors. Had a blast shooting that one as well. So I'm excited for you guys to see that one as well. It'll be fun. So that'll be out this summer.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Anybody else? No? Thank you.
I actually have several questions. It's
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so
There's a long line behind you.
okay, so all about Everybody Wants Some. So you were obviously really believably transported back to the 80s with the help of Wikipedia.
Yes.
If you could travel back to any time, any era, which would you choose?
Oh God, that's a good one. I would probably say like the Roaring 20s. I feel like that would be really kind of fun. I've always been like weirdly obsessed with that world. Yeah, I love the look of that world. I love the feel of that world, the mystery around it. I kind of like how it was still, people were connected, but still like a certain level of disconnect.
Okay.
So it was always just like you're with who you're with, and there's like an element of mystery. So you could go to a new city, no one knows who you are, and kind of just be whoever you want to be in that town. So there's a lot of cool things about just that era that I feel like would have been a lot of fun. I love the music. I love the idea of going to like good little jazz bars in Chicago and places like that. It could have been. I think 20s could have been a good time.
So in my head, I'm thinking, is it gangster Hoechlin or is it dapper Hoechlin?
Right in the middle. Right in the middle. Depends on what city. Depends on what city you're in. Yeah.
Okay, and then
What about you? Where would you go?
probably the 50s or the 60s.
50s or 60s?
Around, like the rockabilly, pinup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good too. Also good music. Also good.
Really good music, yeah. And cars and just everything.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and then in a similar vein as Finnegan's adaptive nature,
Yes.
what is the most ingenious thing that you think that you've done to reel in kind of a romantic interest and wasn't successful? Or was most successful? I guess they don't have to go hand in hand.
Well, I guess I was gonna say if it's ingenious, it better be successful.
Or you think it's ingenious, right?
True. Very true. The most ingenious thing. Oh God. I don't think I can praise myself that highly. Finnegan is a special guy, and he actually is that person.
Or I guess most successful, or something
Successful. Yeah, you know, see, I really don't claim to be a very smooth guy. So I think the most ingenious thing I did was just finally accepting that.
Okay.
So, that's really the best. I think once you just kind of realize, you know, who you are and you just go with it, I think that's the most ingenious thing you could do.
Well, you're rocking it, so.
I'm trying. I probably fail more than I succeed. But I mean, I've had girlfriends, I've had relationships, so I guess I've succeeded at times. You'd have to ask them what it was, though. I really can't tell you.
I meant to.
I'm always
I wanted
actually
to ask
amazed.
this like in a panel question where all of them were there, but I didn't get a chance. I figured. I mean, I had
Yeah.
to, so.
God, see, me even struggling to think of it shows you how not ingenious I
It
actually
kind
am at
of
this.
made me think of. I just read the article that the Guardian UK had come out with, where it was just you and Glenn.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, yeah, we rocked it, dude. Like last night was awesome. And he was like, dude, man, you were home by like 10.
Yeah, he was. He tried to play that one off. But no, actually, it was funny because we did a UK tour for Everybody Wants Some, and I was there with Richard Linklater and Glenn Powell, who plays Finnegan in the movie. And his first flight got canceled coming out. His second flight, they woke him up to ask him if he was a doctor because there was someone on the plane who was having an emergency. And I think
Looks like a doctor.
What did he say? His response was like, "Who's directing?" And so yeah, so his flight actually got diverted to Ireland. So he had a rough time getting there. So I as much as I gave him a hard time for going home early that night, he had a rough day getting there. So I couldn't really blame him.
Okay. And then. I went to a Q&A where Glenn had mentioned that you and Ryan, or Mac and Cheese,
Yes.
pitched several ideas to Rick, and at one point you guys were like acting something out in front of him. I think it was like in between scenes or something, so you like had to rush off to do something. So you guys were like acting it out, and he was just like, okay, bye. Is he still there?
Yeah. So this was kind of the great thing about working on that film is that you felt safe and okay to try things that didn't work, which eventually the hope is that it leads to something that does. So Ryan and I had come up with kind of an idea or something to do to kind of end this scene, and we were doing one of our live run-throughs of the whole of the script at the house. And so we would start at the very beginning, we would run through the entire script, everything that takes place in that house, and it was the opening scene, and Rick was following Blake, who plays Jake, out of the kitchen, and Ryan and I continued on with our little idea. And Rick kind of stopped and like looked in, and he was watching for a second, and we got about halfway through it, and he was like, yeah, okay. And he just kind of walked out, and I could see him, but Ryan couldn't, so Ryan kept going with the scene. And then eventually he stopped talking, and I didn't really say anything. He's like, he left, and he was like, yeah, he's not here. He's gone. So we're gonna scratch that one off. But it was good. But that was a great thing. Rick made you feel really comfortable to try things. And kind of encouraged that, and never really would shoot it down. It just kind of inspired you to keep trying. But he did know what he wanted, so you would know if it worked or not. And that one did not. So we came up with something else eventually.
My question was, what was something that you guys really wanted to like thought of and then really wanted to see adapted in the film that didn't make the cut?
Honestly, after we saw the film put together, and then I saw some of the things that were taken out of it, I really don't know of anything. I think everything that kind of went into it in the end was right. It was very, very well done. Rick, like I said, knows what he wants, and he's very good at that. So seeing the film as a whole, there's nothing that got cut out that I wish would have made it. I think kind of all the moments are there. You really get a good sense of who each and every one of these guys are. Maybe the part where Ryan and I ran through a party in our underwear just because it was really cold that night, and it would have been worth it more if it had made it in the movie. But yeah, I can't really think of anything that didn't make it. But I'm pretty sure that's in the deleted scenes. So yeah, I think I think all that stuff will be there, but I was happy with the way it turned out.
That was actually my follow-up question, was whose idea was the tidy whitey scene?
That was
and why didn't it make it?
That was mine and Ryan's. That was us. That was us at the party being like, Rick, we thought maybe we'd be streaking through the party. And he said, yeah, cool, let's do it. So we did it.
Okay, so my last question is, so my favorite character is, obviously I really like your character, but my favorite character is Jay Niles. I love him. Raw Dog is my favorite. Who was your favorite character aside from your own, and who would you have wanted to play outside of Mac?
I wouldn't have wanted to play anybody else. Honestly, everybody, after seeing what everybody did, I think in the beginning, and characters kind of moved around too. Lines from the script got redistributed kind of as we rehearsed it. So we would do a read-through. It was like the most selfless group of guys ever. It's the most incredible ensemble because nobody was really clinging to moments or trying to take all of them for themselves. We would do read-throughs where guys would be like, Rick, I really I don't feel like my guy would say this. I feel like maybe he would, and would give the line away. So it was a really great group of guys in that way. So once we started doing that process, it was like really clear that like everyone was perfectly spot on for who they were supposed to be. So I don't think I would have wanted to play anybody else. Justin did an amazing job playing Niles. Such a great job. It's such a hard character to pull off without doing just every cliche in the book. So I think he did an incredible job with that. But I will say, I think the lines in the movie that always get me the most are probably Willoughby's, who was played by Wyatt Russell. He's got some incredible lines in that. So I think that's probably the one that I always, I always kind of go back to a few of the things that he says.
Really philosophical.
Very philosophical in a very great way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
Thank you all for questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how you doing?
One of my favorite movies, Road Perdition.
Oh, thank you.
What was it like working with Tom Hanks? What kind of advice did he give you being so young, and how did it affect your acting career?
I think working with Tom was amazing. He has the reputation of the nicest guy in Hollywood because he is. He's the nicest person. Could not have been more welcoming and just a great example of how to be a professional, how to be an actor, how to be a good person. So that was really. But I would say, as far as like advice that he gave me, I was very young when that happened, and so we had a lot of talks. But I think one of the things I remember from that set was really great was everybody kind of let me just go. Which was, I think, a good thing for confidence at that age. It was kind of, they just trusted me, and I think letting me feel that was probably a good thing in that time, just because I think if you're overwhelmed sometimes with advice or being told things, you start to question whether or not you know anything. So they really just kind of let me go, and Sam Mendes, who directed, was really great about making you feel in the same way that Linklater was. He's great about not being all over you, but you know that you're safe, and if something's not getting there or something's not where it needs to be or what it needs to be, he's going to let you know. He's really, really great about that. So I think that was kind of one of the things I remember from that set, was just always feeling very trusted and a lot of confidence from those guys. So we just kind of messed around and talked about random things, baseball, stuff like that. So it was really, I don't know if there was ever like a sit down, like, hey, this is what you need to do kind of thing. So great leader by example kind of guy.
Very cool.
Please, if anyone's very strongly DC or Marvel here, don't hate me. But I don't have an allegiance. to one or the other, so which works well for casting. So yeah, I love both worlds. It would really kind of just depend on what kind of world the filmmaker would want to be creating with it, and what the character was. But I mean, like I look at what Robert Downey's done with Iron Man and what Christian Bale did with Batman and things like that. I love what those guys did with those films. So really, it would depend a lot on that, what the story is, what the filmmaker's kind of vision is for it. But it's definitely a world that I would love to be a part of. So someday we'll see.
I think you could have been awesome Winter Soldier, by the way.
Oh well, thank you.
Another question, number 2. Who is your favorite hero or villain in DC and Marvel, if you have one?
Favorite villain now, I think now and forever right now has to be the Joker. Just after after Nicholson and Heath Ledger and just what they did with that, I think that's always going to be my favorite villain now. Favorite hero? Oh man, it's definitely it's a toss up between Iron Man and Batman. I think those are the two. Yeah, for sure. I think that trilogy of Batman with Bale and what Christopher Nolan did with that, I just thought was really special. So that's kind of I loved Batman before that, and it's just I think that version of it now is just kind of put a new spin on it for me, and I just really immensely enjoyed that one. So. That's going to be right up there, and what Robert Downey did with the first Iron Man, I just thought was so ingenious, and just such a great new way of looking at this world that it really kind of made me a fan for life. So those are the two.
All right. Do you have a celebrity crush? If so, who?
I had celebrity crushes when I was a kid.
Okay.
Don't know that I have any now. I mean, I have crushes on people for their work, I think, more than anything. But when I was a kid, I had a huge crush on Kate Beckinsale. Yeah.
Awesome.
Did anybody see Click?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So come on. Yeah. Great. I think Click is one of Sandler's greatest films. I love that movie. I had a huge crush on her, and I had a huge crush on. Oh God, why am I blanking on her name? Is that Tiffany Amber Thiessen? Is that right? When she was in Saved by the Bell? Yeah. My older brother and sister watched that show, and I think I forget how young I was then, but it was Kelly, and I was like, oh man, yeah. And then and Jennifer Aniston when she was playing Rachel in Friends. That was another one.
Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate it. Sounds good, man.
Hey,
how's it going, buddy? I feel like your question might have been stolen, just based off your reaction.
Well, yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, great to hear how you feel about your favorite superheroes and all that. So I've got one question. If anything, what do you miss the most about leading the cast of Teen Wolf?
The cast.
I mean,
the cast. Yeah. I miss the guys. I missed the times. It's always fun working with those guys, but especially on a TV show, I think you fall into such a rhythm in the scenes that the initial, like the first season or two of the show where you're really kind of spending so much time exploring the characters and finding out who they are. It's fun to see what's different about them in each season after that. But to a certain extent, you always kind of there's a familiarity with the character. You don't need to sit there an hour before the scene and be like, oh, how would he really be thinking or doing this? It's like you kind of become a part of you that you can kind of tap into and go back to it. So after the first season or two, especially the time when you're not shooting. Is just so much fun, and there's more time that you're not shooting than you are. So if you have to be on a set, like some people that I know, where you don't necessarily enjoy your castmates, it's not necessarily as fun. But there really wasn't a bad person in that group. So the time in between takes, in between scenes, I miss the downtime with those guys, just kind of hanging out, talking about meaningless, pointless stuff for absolutely no reason. Those times were great, and it was a special set, really good people. But I still do see them a lot outside of work as well. So it's nice that I don't have to miss it too much. But yeah, when you got a 16-hour day, it's nice on hour 15 that your person next to you is still making you laugh. So I miss those times.
All right, well, just one more. If a Teen Wolf movie were to be produced, how interested would you be in that project?
I mean, I'll read it. I'll definitely read it. See what they're doing. Yeah. Is that another rumor that I'm not aware of?
Maybe.
Maybe. Are you starting it right now? Yeah. No, I'd love to see what they're doing with it. I mean, I can imagine that it's pretty amazing the kind of world that we were able to create on that show on a television budget. So to see what they could do with a film would be definitely very, very interesting. I'd love to see the scope of what they were trying to accomplish and kind of fit it all into 2 hours.
You got a title, Adult Wolf.
Adult Wolf, that's the title? All right. What is it, young adult? Young man?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, my next question is having to do with the cast and hanging out with them. You
Okay.
guys get to go to like pubs and play games and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So what is
When you say you guys, you mean me and Ian?
You and Ian. Apparently Colton was at the one with you and your brother and all of that.
Yeah, Colton's been in the recent one.
What is your like favorite like pub game or to play with each other?
I'd say between Ian and I, it is definitely shuffleboard. I'm surprised Ian still likes to play with me. I didn't say that. You can tell him I said that. It'll be good. Because then the next time I play him, he'll be thinking about it and I'll just win again. So it's so fun to mess with Ian. So shuffleboard is definitely...
next month, so I'll tell him.
Are you? Oh,
Yeah,
that's great. Please ask him how it feels to never have beaten me at shuffleboard.
I Tyler
can't
said to
wait.
say.
Oh no! Don't tell him I said it. You say it. Eventually, you can tell him that I said that. But I just want to see his reaction when you say it first. But I would say shuffleboard. Like to go and throw darts. Definitely a big fan of darts. Shoot some pool. Anything where there's a winner and a loser at the end. Pretty big fan of.
Yeah, like beer pong with your brother.
Yeah, definitely some of that. Back to the good old days. Yeah, we'll get a couple games of that in.
Thank you.
Thank you. You better ask him that. I'm going to hold you to that.
Hello.
Hello.
So I was wondering, Derek Hale obviously thrived in the Teen Wolf world. Did you think
sometimes.
So did you think any of your other characters that you've played would also thrive in the Teen Wolf world?
Oh, none of them. No, let me think. Who would have thrived in the Teen Wolf world? Mick Reynolds could have. Maybe. Who saw Everybody Wants Some? Just so when I actually reference them, I know how many people get what I'm saying. Okay, so few. So if and when you see Everybody Wants Some, I would say Mick Reynolds probably could. He would hold his own, I think. I'm trying to think of any other ones. Maybe going all the way back to Road to Perdition, Michael Sullivan, grown up now, maybe could have. Maybe not at 13. But yeah, I'd say those two would have the strongest chance. Everybody else would absolutely be dead in season 1. I think that's pretty unquestionable.
I have another question. So when you moved on from Teen Wolf and started filming other projects, were there times where you were like, "Where's my cast? Like, where is everyone?"
Yeah, there's definitely times when everybody else has kind of gone back to work and they're on set and. You call somebody and be like, I'll call JR and say, hey, what are you doing today? Like, I'm working, I'm going to shoot the wolf. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right, you guys are shooting right now. Okay. Yeah, so it's definitely a weird thing, but it's part of moving on and trying different things. And it's also one of those things where, like I said, in TV, things do become comfortable. And I think when I made the decision to leave, it was just, I don't think I wanted to feel comfortable anymore. I think it was I had that for long enough and kind of wanted to feel like I was taking a risk and wanted to try something different and have it feel a little scary. So, you take away that security blanket and it's kind of a whole new feeling. So I just felt like it was time to do that. So I miss, like I said, I miss the guys, I miss the family there, I miss all the people there. Yeah, it is different when you show up on a set for the first time. You're like, oh, I don't know anybody. There's a whole new group of people. But it's also kind of a great opportunity to make another new family. That's one of the cool things about what we do is if you get on the good set, on the right sets. I have a text chain that goes off every day with all the guys from Everybody Wants Something. We just constantly give each other hell, and it's a lot of fun. So don't get to do that if you don't take a step away sometimes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So with young Derek and Paige, right?
Yeah.
Paige. I think that episode was really cool. I think it was the most character-centered episode. So I really enjoyed that because it was just, it wasn't necessarily about, who was that season. I want to say that was season 3.
Yeah.
I think it was 3. So instead of kind of dealing with the alphas and figuring out what the next move was, it really kind of took you back just to kind of let you understand why you were where you were. So I really enjoyed that episode. I really liked watching that episode. And then I'm trying to think of what another one would have been. I loved episode 4 of season 1 and 2, where Derek is kind of stuck with Styles. Those were both really fun. Dylan's a great guy, I love him. So it's always good to work with him. So we had those episodes being stuck in a pool for 12 hours straight. Again, it's nice to have someone next to you who can still make you laugh about it. So those episodes were really fun, but the finales were always a good time. I think shooting the finales were always fun just because everybody tended to be there. I loved episode 4 of season 1 and 2, where Derek is kind of stuck with Styles. Those were both really fun. Dylan's a great guy, I love him. So it's always good to work with him. So we had those episodes being stuck in a pool for 12 hours straight. Again, it's nice to have someone next to you who can still make you laugh about it. So.
We'll see you guys later. You guys did an awesome job. And